And sometimes I think the thought of doing things alone is really intimidating. But I have found what works for me is to imagine me holding my own hand and to kind of like have two Hannahs. And if that's not helpful for your listeners, then imagine holding your hand of your little self. Maybe like the 7-year-old self or the 12-year-old self or the 18-year-old self.
I love that. I just saw myself grabbing I was scared all the time. I'm like,
Yeah. And you can say to that little girl, be like, honey, let's try. And like, you would never bash a little kid, and you would never tell an actual 7-year-old, oh, your dreams, you're going to fail. You would never say that to another little kid, like a little cousin or a little niece or nephew. So why would you say it to yourself? So I think it's really important to pick.
Hello, my name is Brandi Hofer. Welcome to the Color Me Happy podcast. I'm so grateful you're here, and I'm very grateful for your time. You are going to feel so empowered with our episodes and our guests because they live a truly passionate life. They're excited about what they do. They know that creativity matters and that your art matters and that it matters to following your passion in life to ultimately see your everyday ordinary as extraordinary. These episodes are almost unedited, very raw, so it'll feel like you're sitting down for coffee with a friend. Feel free to reach out anytime at Brandi Hofer Studios on Instagram and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we just met on social media as per usual. I'm already on, and that's okay. That's whatever. I got rained on because I was watercoloring on my front step, and then I was like, oh, it's really cooling off. And then I was like, oh, it's raining.
But then the rain adds to the watercolor and changes textures and stuff. Yeah, nice.
We're doing like a French themed evening it's called the Cheesery. And I know about watercolors. I was taught watercolors. I can't remember how or why. And I'm like, now I'm hosting a workshop on watercolors and florals. So I'm like, need to brush up. But at the same time, I'm like, for these quick sketches, we're going to do of our bouquets in an hour. There's only really one way you can do it, and that is going for it. So
yes,
it'll be lots of fun. And honestly, sketchbooks, that's what they're for. And so I want to talk about your burnout because we just talked about it. But I'm always burnt out just from like kids and sports and like being a portrait artist and social media and being like put in a category. And so Penny Lane Shen came on my podcast, and she's an artist advisor, and she was mine for years. And I just got so busy that I brought her on my podcast, and I haven't booked a session with her, but I got a lot out of the podcast. And everyone, I hope, if they haven't listened to it, goes and listens to it. She said, just fill a sketchbook with whatever. And we already have a free like sketchbook program. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take it with me and just do stuff, whatever it is, even if it's ugly. And it's all very ugly. So
good.
It's hard to be okay with.
I get it, but I think anything that any artist can do to undo the ties and the knots of perfectionism is the thing that must come first, almost. Whatever. And I think it kind of comes with evaluating someone else's voice higher than your own. And I think one of the things that I do well and in my life is that my voice is the one I answer to. I don't answer to my followers. I don't answer to, I'm self-taught in just about everything. So it's kind of nice. I've never had a teacher that I tried to please.
Yeah.
And even when I was a social worker, my teachers will tell you I did not try to please them.
But maybe your degree in social work helps balance out that artist voice. You know what I mean? Like you have that knowledge and that training and the wherewithal and that boundary.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you. Let's start from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about your degree. Like, let's hear about that, and then how you went from that to I'm gonna be an artist. or
Yes,
do both,
yes. Well, art has always been in the bloodstream. My mom is incredibly creative, but again, untaught, untested. I come from very creative people, not necessarily artists, but my dad is to call him handy does him a disservice because he is an inventor, I mean, he's the most resourceful person I've ever met. And then my mom is really fierce and bold. And so I come from a lot of like great tinder to have a big explosion of art. So I've always been creative, but then when I was a teenager, you question yourself, you kind of learn who you are. And I took like a couple of again, like a drawing class in college. Um, but I come from a very utilitarian family as well, and we're all teachers and nurses and like pastors and doctors. So it was always kind of expected. Oh, you will do something in the like if you're going to be an artist, you can do that on the side, but you will be in service to humanity, and that was
Right.
just
Which
and
is great because that's a driven category of people.
It is very driven, but if you're not the one driving, it is an artificial drive, right? So if like your parents have their foot on the gas, and my parents are not overbearing people, and they never said you're gonna be a teacher. They never said that, but it was kind of just you're on the path and you go along on the path. But then so I got my master's in clinical social work, and it was always the plan. But while I was in school, I was doing 7 days a week of mental health social work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then full-time school on top of that. So I was wrung dry, Brandi. But I wanted to create something because, art and just drawing and painting made me feel more myself. And I wanted to relax in that way. But I was too tired to paint, too tired to draw. So I would cut apart recycled books and I would collage. And that was enough. That was creation enough to sustain me. And then I graduated in 2019. And it was always my plan to quit my job because my current job without my master's was one that you get your master's to get out of. So I was always going to quit my job. But I had what's known in the business as compassion fatigue. And probably anyone in any business experiences that at some point, but you should really need to be aware of it if you're working in the humanities. And so I quit my job and I undertook to backpack the Pacific Crest Trail, which, as you might know, goes from Mexico to Canada. And Brandi, I had never backpacked before. I had never even set up my tent.
That's so great.
Stupid person, but not stupid because I'm just like, oh, it'll work out. Like, I just don't have that. I don't have self-doubt. And it is.
That's the thing. I think more
really
people
nice.
have to jump on I don't know about this. I have no clue how I'm going to but I'm just going to try and know that I have the ability to pivot, to be resourceful, to make the call, to overcome fears, to be scared and come through it. That is how we learn. That is how we
learn. And sometimes I think the thought of doing things alone is really intimidating. But I have found what works for me is to imagine me holding my own hand and to kind of like have two Hannahs. And if that's not helpful for your listeners, then imagine holding your hand of your little self, maybe like the 7-year-old self or the 12-year-old self or the 18-year-old self.
I love that. I just saw myself grabbing I was scared all the time. I'm like,
yeah. And you can say to that little girl, be like, honey, let's try. And like, you would never bash a little kid and you would never tell an actual 7-year-old, oh, your dreams, you're going to fail. You would never say that to another little kid, like a little cousin or a little niece or nephew. So why would you say it to yourself? So I think it's really important to picture yourself and like have dialogues with yourself. And kind of that externalization. It's really helpful in therapy. Like when you externalize your problems, it's like you are not your problems. Your problems are happening to you, but you're not your anxiety. You're not your depression.
Yeah,
So it's also,
oh my gosh, hold on. Pause for like 60 seconds.
Yeah.
I realized I left my trailer door open in the back and it's like, oh my gosh, my husband's going to kill me. Okay.
don't be killed by your husband. Take care of what you need. I'll be here.
I'll be right back. Shoot. I was like, I will go in here and paint and work and I will, didn't.
Okay.
Right? I didn't. I locked it. I had just like a fear. I think I've been like in and out of there so many times that I just can't remember anything anymore.
That's fine.
I
Always
gutted
better
it.
to double check.
I gutted it. And I'm redoing it last minute without planning on. Anyway, okay. I'm wetter.
Oh, it's still raining. That's right.
Okay, keep going. I love that. Yeah, like I love the visual of what you just said. And yeah, keep going. If you can remember your train of thought.
It's a really, really useful practice for creation and just living your life, is to literally picture yourself as another person, as your own friend. So in my writing, and I'm a writer too, I realized that journaling is just a dialogue. You are talking to yourself. And that's what journaling is. So I've learned things about myself through journaling and also through solo backpacking, because the Pacific Crest Trail went amazingly. I did not die. I did fall down a mountain.
Oh no.
That was great. But my whole brain completely changed. But the most important thing that happened to me, solo backpacking, and I say solo backpacking because I kind of kept on waiting to meet people that I would hike with. But then I realized, I really like being alone. And I was able to listen to myself and attune to myself in a way that I never would have if I had a lot of chatter around me. So as I'm hiking, every day, like a marathon a day, packing, a question landed in my brain that up till then I had always distracted myself with other things. But when you're backpacking, there's nothing else to distract you. And the question was, what would it look like if you really tried to be an artist? I had never really tried. I would sell my collages to just kind of buoy myself financially when I was in grad school, but it was only a kind of half-assed effort. But the question, what would it look like if you really tried? And I was like, oh my gosh. But that was a question I didn't consciously think. It was just like was in my brain. And that is another way of kind of like realizing, oh my goodness, there's more than just me in here. There are instincts, there are creative intuition. There's more to me than just me. And I've learned that with backpacking and being alone so much, because I am very intentionally alone. Community is important, but I believe in the independent.
Artists need to be alone a little. Yeah.
I know. I gotta say, there's just so, and I'm very, very introverted. But there's so much emphasis on community that I'm like, well, let's also remember that being able to stand alone is also really important, and meaningful solitude is as important as community. So I think meaningful solitude for an artist is imperative, and that can be another conversation for another time. But so then I got back to the US and I still didn't really heed myself. I kind of thought, I'll get a job I'll get a social work job, but then the pandemic hit, and then I got a lot of attention on Instagram for my art. And then I had a big conversation with my parents. I am not going to look for a social work job. I've realized now that my art can buoy me financially, and I'm just going to, as I say, juice this lemon for as long as I can. I'm just going to see if I can make this work. And they, of course, being generous, beautiful people, they're like, well, we understand, we support you. And for a while they would kind of hint like, when you go back to social work. But then I would have to like swat that down real quick and be like, but I've chosen, I'm an artist. But I've been self-employed full-time for 5 years. So It's crazy.
For you, yeah.
But I think the pivot happens. So again, listening to yourself, it's just so important, and making space for that solitude where only your voice can be the one that you hear. Because as I was journaling one day, which as we know is just talking to yourself, I realized I think mental paint, which was my business before, which was just paper collage, I think it's dying. I do not have the social media engagement that I once did. And the worst part about it is the metric of a successful day is only financial. Boo, that's no
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That is no good. And that was my measurement of a meaningful day, is if I had made sales.
Right.
And I'm like, that is the lowest form of imagination. So I really, again, had to take myself by the shoulders and be like, what are you here for? And then so I pivoted again. And the pivot is to kind of approach my career in a three-pronged way. And they do kind of all intersect in a way, but it's a three-pronged river. One is bigger, more audacious artwork. And so my former style of collage was all quite small, and so now my work is much bigger. It is also more interesting media, and I gotta bring you Ursa Major. Hold on, I'm not wearing pants, so if you see my butt, that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
But then I made, can you see this?
I love that.
made this
Wow.
head.
Wow.
Because I staged my own theatrical performance of a long distance hike I had taken. And that is one of the voices in my head, is that crow. Her name is Ursa Major. But so just more audacity with creativity, more listening to that like inner voice. And then writing, all of when I backpack, I keep a journal. And then also teaching women how to backpack. That's the three-pronged river. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't, and I've been doing it for 1 year. So in 2024, I was like, this is the end of mental paint. 2025 is the beginning of Flock of Beasts, and this is my logo. And so it's going well. I'm galvanized and invigorated every day. And
I think as creatives, we constantly do need that reinvention and something to strive toward, or maybe as women, probably both. And independent travel is really a constructive way of figuring out who you are and what you want in your life.
Yes.
Because when you're in fight or flight constantly, which we just in our societal role are constantly giving to others, or in some sort of caretaker role, right? We rarely have the chance to take care of ourselves. So I was fortunate enough to travel early on in my career to France and Montreal. And I was remembering so afraid, but then I gave myself a chat. My brother toured me through the city he was living in, and we went for live music and to this European cafe. And I was like, I'm gonna do this like he moved and did this, and I'm sure he was scared when he moved. And so, and then I just did, and some crazy stuff happened, but I figured it out. And that was before we had maps or anything that got you around, or, like you have a tiny little box now that can help you in every situation. It was much scarier before that.
So much different.
So when my kids are all going to be 6 and up, so I'm like, I'm ready again to like go anywhere with women, or meet them there, or teach them something, to be independent, so tell me about this new business, because that sounds awesome and empowering and exciting.
Well, I have found that you teach what you know. And something that I know is that backpacking has brought me everything that I value about my inner life right now. Um, First of all, you think like when you think of backpacking, you probably think of someone in like a Patagonia catalog, like sleek and sexy with expensive clothes, and they're like standing on a mountain, looking all hot. And if they're, they might have a 5 o'clock shadow and like a perfect braid. But I'm like, boring. No, we're not all like that. And you do not have to be like that. So backpacking can seem intimidating because people think, oh, you got to be rich to do it because the gear is expensive. Or you have to be like really in shape to do it. And so it is
I would say the in shape thing more, right?
yeah, yeah. And I get it.
I
Of
bet
course,
that
you want to make
holds
sure your body is
so many
able.
people back is
Yeah.
like, I'm that simple thing. Like I can't physically do that, or I can't swim lanes or go to exercises what is it called? Where are they in the pool?
Oh,
I
I
actually
don't
think that
know.
looks so fun. I went once and it is fun. And it's hard.
Yeah.
The aqua sizes.
Oh, I have no idea what that is. That sounds cute
It's
though.
like, when they work out in the pool, it's usually older
Oh,
women
I bet that works well.
who give zero fucks. Yeah.
I think, you might say, oh, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, we'll add one word. I can't do it now. But this is a kind of thing that backpacking is so beautiful about is you will learn persistence by doing it. So you might think, well, I can't backpack now. Okay, that is perfectly fine. You cannot do 26 miles a day with a 35-pound pack on your back. No problem. But you can walk around your neighborhood with 5 heavy books in your backpack. And then the next day, you can incremental. And again, that's how it is with art. Like, oh, I could never paint a painting like that. They're so good. But it's like, okay, but you can start drawing and you can take an intro level class and your skills will build on it. It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
You will improve. Even imperfect practice does lead to progress. And same with backpacking. Even imperfect backpacking does lead to more strength and more power and more and even just walking outside, and even a short backpacking trip. Like I just took women out for it was 3 miles one day, and then we all camped together, and it was 3 miles back. It's like my intro. And they still saw everything beautiful. They still they still got like a good heart pound. But they saw everything beautiful, and they had a wee little pack trip, but it is the same joy and the same beauty of a big pack trip. So I kind of think in my work now, which I am making it up as I go. I don't know anyone who does anything like this. It's not wildly unique, but it is. No, I'm just like, and like I'll just do it, and I'll do it unprepared. But again, it's all like, I don't doubt myself. I am an able ally of me. And I have learned that through backpacking. So it's like, if I can just give women a hint of who they might become. But I really think nature is the one who gives women the hint. And I say all I am is just like a doorknob. And you are the one who are putting your hand on the doorknob, and you're the one who's going to walk across the threshold. You have the power, but I am a doorknob, and I do have a role in this transformation, a potential transformation. If they don't like backpacking, no problem. But I before I was Flock of Beasts, the name of my business, it was not a beautiful title, but it was To Wilderness, which now I'm like, oh, I don't like it. But the 2 wildernesses that I believe a woman embodies and is a part of is the wilderness of nature, and also the inner wilderness, the wilderness of a woman's soul. And I believe that backpacking leads you into both of the two wildernesses. Obviously, nature, because backpacking is not hiking. Hiking is you go out and you come back to your
Come back.
car.
Yeah.
Backpacking is you have your house on your back, and you are your power, and there is no car. You are the car, and there is no horse to take you. You are the horse. It's so thrilling to me. I can't like. I can't even communicate well how thrilling to me it is, and the fact that it's out there and that it is possible. I'm just like, more people need to know about this. But so backpacking will obviously show you the wilderness of nature, but then also the boundaries of your soul will widen. It again, it is an inevitability. So and just knowing your own perseverance and your own problem solving skills in ways that don't get tested in our society.
Yeah.
You know, it you test your perseverance every single day when you're a mother for another hour, and when you're a wife for another hour, and that is soul strengthening perseverance. But the beautiful thing about backpacking is there is a level of freedom that comes when it's just you and nature, and also you and yourself, and getting to know yourself more in this beautiful place is what I want to reveal to women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, what's funny, in my little art academy class, we did like a big garden, but to start the garden and get the dirt going and whatever, we had to rip out like 13 diseased rose shrubs, like
Wow.
giant ones, which was like laborious, sweat filled,
And a good metaphor too.
pokey, like it was insane. And so, and then we had kids like spreading mulch and digging holes and all this stuff. And so I have not had so much positive parent feedback from those days where the kids were dirty and sweating, like,
Oh,
and getting like cut and like, and so I'm like, I bet you anything, like none of these kids have done any physical labor ever in their lives.
but we are like,
We are made
long
for
for
it.
it. We long for it. Like there's something
That
about just
physicality.
the physicality, because we are a body, and our society, and like the Western Christian tradition, and I am a Christian, and I am proud of God, but I am not proud of the church. And one of the things, obviously there's so many terrible things that's happened, but the church divorces us from our bodies, because it's like, they say like, oh, your body is a sin and feelings are bad, and rah, rah, rah. But it's like, no, we are here, and I am here, and this body is the ship of my soul, and my soul is the captain, and my body is the ship. And
I read something, sorry, when you say that, I actually read something very interesting and similar to what you're saying this morning. And I think I saved it. Yeah. And like, belief systems are such a touchy subject.
yeah,
And I support whatever anyone believes, and you do you, and I'm doing me, and that's okay. But this is just a quote that I was like, oh, that is an interesting perspective. So man is the most insane species. He worships an invisible God and destroys a visible nature, unaware that this nature he's destroying is the God he's worshiping. Hubert Reeves.
I read that same quote yesterday.
Yeah, on earthly education. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's so interesting when we see and we can feel these amazing things right in front of us. Like, if our earth is here to connect back to it, and we are a part of it.
Yes.
We are, there's no big like, oh, what if I make it through this? Then I get to go, like, you know what I mean? Like, what about right now? Like, being so present in who you are and connecting back to that, which I think creatives are really good at, that sense of intuition and awe and wonder and all of those good things. But I think you're touching on it with, yeah, like it is connected, the backpacking, and you can feel self-worth through exploration and hard work.
Yes.
physically.
Yes. I mean, even think like the physicality of being an artist. Like I'm really intrigued by, I call it like the land between hand and mind. Like my brain says, Hannah, you want to paint. I'm looking at it right now, a nude woman standing in a burning city with like terrible dogs snapping at her. And I'm like, here's the space that this painting needs to come to life. And so it's just wild to me that a hand can create what our souls demand. And
Mm.
I am always, I thank my feet. One time I wrote a letter to my feet and my legs because I'm like, my brain's charts this grand course like, oh, you're going to go backpacking throughout Spain and you're not going to stop until you get to the ocean. And my heart's like, yeah, let's go. But then no, my feet weren't involved in the planning. They didn't get invited to the meeting, but they are the ones who have to do it all. So it's like the body. And I want to just gather myself up in a hug and be like, girl. And I actually named my legs because I'm on them all the time. And particularly backpacking, I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, bitches, you are stallions. And so my left leg is Beowulf and my right leg is Goliatha.
I love how you name things because it's a way of, it's rooted in positive self-talk.
100% positive self-talk. And I call, like, I am a family. I am a single woman and I have no wish to partner with anyone. I do not wish for children. But I am a family. And I call in my writing, I talk about the family of me and how everyone must work together and be proud of each other. But yeah, it's like just embodying who we've been given and you have been given you. And sometimes I'm just like, why wouldn't you, or, if I talk to someone and they're like, oh, I can't do that, or that's strange. Like, why wouldn't you want this? I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And I know it's egotistical, but like, I can't imagine a better alternative to this. So.
My sister I was very much like that, but I'm also a very flowy kind of person. I'm like, well, like we built our home with no children in mind. Or I was like, at 19, I was like, I will be an independent woman and won't be married and won't have, but like life.
Yeah.
I very much, I have some extra lines and some extra exhaustion, but I also I always and I'm not putting down your way of life. I think it's very beautiful. And I think many people should strive toward that. And that is okay. And my way of life is okay too. But I I felt like I was living in black and white. And when I became a parent, I felt like I was living in color. It was just, for me personally, more purpose driven, right?
Yes.
So and it turns out I like kids. So
yeah.
And
kids are wonderful. My best friends are 7 and 5. So
yeah. So I'm like, if anyone's missing their kid in my neighborhood, they've been in, which sounds terrible and weird, but they've been in my camper painting stuff with me and just come out paint covered. But I am curious. I was like, why has no one looked for this one in 45 minutes?
No.
We have a very good neighborhood. Anyway, I feel like and I really liked being with my family, and I just didn't realize that until later. Like I was always the one like, let's decorate for Christmas together. And everyone's like, actually, we don't care.
Oh,
so now I don't really care either because I burnt myself out decorating for Christmas by myself for like 9 to 18. So because no one did care except for me. And so
but you made it beautiful.
Yeah, so I do like it. It is really hard, but I do it's so neat reliving life through their eyes. That's probably my favorite part. Like re-enjoying sledding in snow again. I'm like, woo, sledding is really fun. Or like next year maybe we'll try skiing. I've never skied before, but my kids keep talking about skiing and I'm like, oh, that sounds like hard and scary. And snowboarding was hard enough when I was a teenager because it was cool to snowboard. But sure, let's all go and strap stuff to our feet and slide down an icy mountain together.
Oh,
Right?
I
Like,
love it. Good for
you
your
know,
kids for pushing and for you for expanding to meet
yeah,
them.
they're like, hop on the skate park. I was like, boundary, I'm not going down the ramp on the skate park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I do like those little things. And then, but also like keeping that, which I think more women really need to push for, is keeping like doing things for you, like going to Spain and backpacking. And I think your positive self-talk is a great way to like pump yourself. Like, I can go, they can pack their own lunches for a week. And I'm strong enough to do this. And I'm not, I'll learn, and I'll do the step climber or whatever if I don't live in a hilly place, and I'll go and I'll meet cool people and I'll have fun adventures, and I'm going to book the ticket even though I don't have the money right now.
Yes.
You know?
And I just thought of this now, like that is also a kind of parenting to model the behavior that you want your children to drink up. Like, again, no one would say to their daughters, you can't do what you want to do. So why would you model that for yourself? And so, I mean, if
Wait
the
20
goal
years
is
till your kids are older, like, boo.
no, and I think it's also kind of good to like decentralize kids and show them like, mama has more to her life than just you. And my sister-in-law,
I
the
like that,
mother,
decentralizing children.
yeah,
I
and
feel like they have become way too important.
and good. I mean, because if you
Yeah,
brought them
no,
to the
I
world,
think like
if they
there are
didn't
good
exist
things
and now
like
they exist, that's
feeling
good.
your emotions
Yes.
and being there for you and empathy and there are great things about it, but also like the extracurriculars have gotten out of control.
Yeah. And
I just took my kid off a playground and I have to take them to their $500 gymnastics course you know, like that sort of thing.
and something that I'm sure is talked about a lot, but like kids need to be bored because boredom
Organic play.
leads to creativity.
Yeah, period. It does. I don't want to touch on the subject because I feel like I'm talking about it all the time. I'm like, oh, like, why can't we just go to Mexico instead of doing this extra month of spring hockey? You know, same price, more fun.
Well, at any time you can make a different choice, but I know it's hard when you're not the only voice involved. And
Of course, yeah. I have I want to hear more of your adventures, but time just goes so fast and I love everything you said. But I have one final question, sponsored by Red Bicycle Communications. If you had unlimited funds for one day for your community, what would you do?
I know it immediately. I would build a kind of like a theater space, or rather like a storytelling space. And you might think, oh, that's just a stage or something, but it would be, I mean, there would be like maybe like a microbrewery too, because I always think if you want to revitalize your community, put a microbrewery in. I mean, if I were a mayor of something, I'd be like microbreweries all around because I mean, like everyone loves beer, and particularly where I come from, Wisconsin. But and like there's creativity in the brewing process and all this stuff, and you need like people to shovel beans. I don't know, whatever they do, and people need to shovel barley and stuff. But so it would be like a microbrewery and a storytelling space, and there would be just, I mean, people would come there to be lifted up and invigorated. And you know, you could have book clubs and you know, kids hours and art classes and all these different things. But it would be like, I would want it to be like an anti-echo chamber, because I've recently really rankled against the ideas of echo chambers where we're all just agreeing with each other. I would want there to be, and so so we would have like weekly, like constructive, courageous conversations, as I think Brene Brown says. Like half the crowd must be from one side of the political spectrum and the other half
Oh my gosh.
must. Yeah, well, we're doing it. We're going, we're jumping right in.
Yeah.
And before the conversation, no one knows who is who. And we just have like, we go to the brewery and we have like a half an hour of just talking and mingling. You have to talk to someone else. But before any civil discourse can happen, there just needs to be, oh, you are my, what beer is that? I was reading today that like even having structured conversations is not always healing. You just need to talk about your kids, or you need to be like, oh, tell me, like, let's say you were a conservative person. And I would say, tell me more. And I would know that about you. I'm like, oh, I know she voted for Trump. Okay. But still tell me, Brandi, I know you voted for Trump. You didn't. You're Canadian. But like, tell me about the decorations that you did. And we need to humanize each other. I am only interested in like bridge building now, in my Discord. I don't want to be agreed with anymore. It's just not fulfilling and it's not helpful. So my space, and I think I have a name already. I think it would be like the Raconteuse Collective. And I've been thinking about it. And Raconteuse is a female storyteller. It comes from the French word raconteur, and then the female, the feminine version of it is raconteuse. So yeah, Raconteuse. The others, the name of my publishing company, which is just something I needed to fill out on my self-published book, is Ruthless Hag. And I don't think that would be as attractive to everyone. So it would be Raconteuse, the Raconteuse
I love
Collective.
that.
Yeah, I know. I
So
identify as a
creative.
hag.
Yeah. You're living and breathing your creativity.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, and just like, I think when you're fully embodied in yourself and you're friends with yourself, then you can have more fun and you can tease yourself. So I mean, I tease myself all the time. I'm making myself
laugh at yourself.
laugh all the time.
Cry your eyes out if you don't. That's what the Indigo Girls say.
What's just more fun? Isn't it
that
more
was in
fun?
my book. You have to laugh at yourself or you'll cry your eyes out if you don't.
Yeah.
It's so great to meet you. Let's keep in touch. And where can everyone find you?
My name is Hannah Ricke, and my Instagram site, or my Instagram profile is Flock of Beasts, like flock of birds, and then beasts as in like Beauty and the Flock of Beasts. And then information on pack trips, my book, and my art is at flockofbeasts.com.
Love it. Okay, everyone has to check you out, and we will chat soon. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Have a great day, Brandi.
You too. Bye. Cannot wait. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Instagram at Brandi Hofer Studios anytime. I'm happy to chat. That's where I sit, and I'm so glad you're here, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. So give us a like and subscribe, and check the rest of our channel.
If you want to feel empowered and inspired, like and subscribe for more. And if you want to get creative, check out all our art hacks on this channel.